David Robinson Show
on the Coyoteman Show Network.
Real talk, real people, real conversation.
And good evening, and welcome to the David Robinson Show. Real talk, real people, real conversations. Continuing positive people doing positive things to make a positive difference in their lives and in the lives of others. I have a special guest on my show who is doing some amazing things to do and to change not only her life but the lives of others. Miss Renee Ambush, originally from Baltimore, now lives in the ATL.
Absolutely. I am so happy to be here. Finally. I'm excited.
Well, I'm glad to have you on my show. And tonight's topic is not how you start, but it's how you finish.
Absolutely.
So, you know, when you think about looking back over your life and some of the hurdles and things that you had to go through to get to where you are now, just amazing things that we met last year. I know you actually wrote a book, and so many other things that you are doing. But before we get to the nitty-gritty of where you are, I want you to tell my guests a little bit about you as the woman, your story that you want the world to know as a woman, and your goals to overcome some of these obstacles that you had to get to.
You know, I'm going to start off by the word that I give with my whole out-the-box business, production, me, everything. And I tell people where you are is not necessarily where you ought to be. You have got to step out of the realm of self-incarceration and be free. You got to get out the box. And that self-incarceration can come from a mental incarceration, emotional bondage, or just bondage to things that happen to you in your life. You know, I have a lot of sayings. And again, another one being, you are not what happened to you. And I'm so glad for your topic being it's not where you started. I am a native of Baltimore. I am so proud to be a native Baltimorean. Everywhere I go, everybody knows I am Baltimore all day. And with that being said, being raised and brought up in a single parent home in West Baltimore, I always aspired to be a singer and, you know, an actress and things of that nature. But understanding from a single parent household, sometimes your parent just wants you to be successful in the things that they know, right? But starting off, you know, I wrote a book and it's entitled Silent Screams. And it's the first of my, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, series about my life. And it speaks about 10 consecutive years of sexual abuse, which includes incest, molestation. And that was very challenging because it shaped my perception of who I was. So that perception took me to a place where I didn't think that I could accomplish because I'd only seen myself in a certain way. And, you know, this is real conversation. I saw me as a piece of something to someone to make them better, but never really looked at how much better and how much worth that I was actually bringing for myself. And I constantly wrote plays and sang in plays and, you know, did theatrical things here, but I still didn't understand how much worth that I had in myself, right? And I'm going to fast forward to a lot of things. I had been in a domestic violent relationship that totally crushed my esteem as well. Because again, here I was putting myself in a position where I thought the only worth I had was for someone else, right? I was in my own self-incarceration to my perception of my own self. You know what I mean? And, you know, not being what I thought was successful or even operating in my purpose. I wasn't moving where I needed to be until I got in my purpose. And sadly, ironically, but even still a blessing enough, it wasn't until the passing of my firstborn, my oldest son at age 28, he died of a heart attack. And all this time I had been living, but what I thought I was living, I was existing. And when he passed away, I realized that it was in his death that birthed life into me, you know? So I left Baltimore and I went to California to adopt his child who was in the foster care system. And it clicked. You know, God told me he had never forgot. By the time I got to California, I had written a book that became a great seller, right, with overcoming sexual trauma. I actually had been singing for years, but I got into a studio and I sang a song that I wrote
Okay.
that was a 2018 Grammy consideration for Best Gospel Single.
Amen.
And I'm just thinking, okay, I'm from West Baltimore. I'm in California making music. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm just going to stop to say it was because I start believing in me and I start releasing myself from the self-incarceration that I had been living under, and started first seeing me how God saw me, and then start seeing me in the mirror and go, you know what? You were purposed for this. You was born for this. Now you can take your passion and operate in your purpose. And when you see yourself operating in your purpose, you'll see that your purpose is not only just for you, but it's for other people too.
Amen.
Why so? I then went from singing to create and film my own music video that is winning film fest all across America, even internationally. And when I say it was just not for me, I brought people in because I saw their gifts and talents too, to direct, to film, because I said, this isn't just for me. The things that I went through in life wasn't for me. It was for me to get through, to overcome, to then come back to make sure that I impart into other people. Thus, my title of an impartation strategist.
I know I'm really excited as I hear all the things that you're saying. Like you said, it's not, how you started. And then when you realize that your life did not belong to you, it belonged to him. And sometimes we have to be careful what we ask for.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes we say,
much is given.
we want God to use us, but however, when he chooses to use you, it's always about somebody else.
It is.
Sometimes we see ourselves, woe is me, and I'm going through. But we're overcome by our testimonies.
Oh, and the blood of the Lamb.
Yes.
And you know what, David? It's so funny to that, because I kept going to God, I'm always going through. But then when he gave me Isaiah 61:1, it helped me to understand. He trusted me enough to go through because he knew that I was going to be a vessel to help those who weren't strong enough to pull themselves out of it. That I would be his manifestation in the flesh to be able to help other people also. And that's what I do. Mental health and behavioral counseling is what I do. I strategize with individuals, right? That's what impartation strategist comes from. I walk alongside people to help them with their journey because I do the work in myself and I've done the work. So I'm like, I'll come right here and help you through your journey as well.
So my viewers that are watching this evening, there's some major things that you've already put out in the atmosphere that you have accomplished. But what would some things that you would say to help them in their struggle? Someone's in that pitfall, someone that may be dealing with some form of abuse from sex, being violated in some sort of way. What would you say to them to encourage them, male or female?
Absolutely. First and foremost, as I said in the beginning of this, you are not what happens to you. So when we change our focus, when we are transformed by the renewing of our mind, when we change our perspective about a thing, we get to change it. That's the beginning, because it's how we look at something and how we see it, right? And then once you see it from a different perspective, and that's what I come alongside them to help them. Once we change that perspective, then now you have a whole newness and a whole clean slate in order for you to build on that. Again, having the background in therapy, there is a method called dialectable therapy, where you go, a thing can be this and that, right? Because sometimes we think, well, if it's either this or that. No, it can be this and that. You can have gone through a whole lot and still be successful. Not that you've gone through, that you have trauma, that you have it, and you can't be, or you're not going to be. It's you can be. And everything that happens to you is for a reason. Nothing happened by chance. Even the things that you went through that was traumatic, you're still here and you're still breathing. So as long as you have breath in your body, you still have the ability to overcome.
Come on now. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
And we're going to come back and talk about a little bit about your book and a little bit about this new project that you are actually working on as well, too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm ready.
All right.
You're watching The David Robinson Show
on the Coyoteman Show Network.
Real talk, real people, real conversation.
We must secure our families. KFG Life Insurance Specialist is a company that partnered with 15 of the top life insurance companies to ensure you get the best pricing, knowledge, and products to suit your family needs. Some people believe that term insurance is better than whole life insurance, while others feel the complete opposite. Some may feel like universal life is the way to go, and others may feel it's better to have a whole life policy. The truth is, neither of the products are better. One just may be more suitable for your family. Our life insurance specialists are not biased, as they are partnered with several life insurance companies. This ensures our clients get the best pricing, education, and products that are suitable for their families. Let KFG Life Insurance Specialist make these decisions easier for you and your family. Our office is located at Security Square Mall, next to Burlington, in the Coyoteman Show Network. Please call to make an appointment at 443-400-5224 or go to www.lifeinsurancepecialist.org. That's www.lifeinsurancepecialist.org. Let KFG Life Insurance Specialist help you prepare your family in the present, because the future is not promised. Act now.
You're watching The David Robinson Show.
On the Coyoteman Show Network.
Real talk, real people, real conversation.
And welcome back to the David Robinson Show. Real talk, real people, real conversations. For my viewers that are watching, don't forget to go to those who have phones and iPhones or Android phones. Go to your app store and download the Coyoteman Show Network. And you can continue to be able to watch us and see what we're doing here on the Coyoteman Show. And back to Miss Renee Ambush from ATL. Making some things happen. So, a little bit about this book. What inspired you to write this book that you wrote?
I was inspired to write this book because as I did the journey with myself, I realized that there were other people that were also going through this that wasn't making it out of it, whether it was not making it out of it in life itself or even in their mental and emotional state with having the stability, right? And understanding that mental health is very prevalent in the world and definitely in our community. And I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to impact, first and foremost, other women to get to a place where they loved themselves, even in the midst of having such traumatic experiences in a manner of sexual violation. That's very deep.
Right there. Mm-hmm. Getting women to that point, those mm-hmm. that's been violated or in some form of a domestic relationship, as we are speaking right now, mm-hmm. If they want help, and I guess you said you had to discover that within yourself, mm-hmm. what was the main point and focus that led you to a point that you wanted to see yourself bigger than what you saw yourself as?
I'm going to first have to say it was my relationship with Christ. Amen. I started seeing myself as what was written about how I was created. And it was hard finding the beauty in myself, not aesthetically, but finding the beauty in my heart. And when I started allowing him to transform my heart, when I started allowing him to minister to me and hear how beautiful and wonderfully I was made, then I started wanting to be more beautiful and wonderful in how I presented myself to myself. Sometimes we got to sit down and have a Zoom meeting with ourselves and come clean with who we are.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's what I did. I had to look at who am I? And then honestly, I wanted to understand my why. What is my reasoning behind the thing? That's very important. When we discover where we are in our journey, we get to see where we were, how far we've come, and where we're going.
So let me ask you something else. When you got to that point, then, you see yourself that you are somebody mm-hmm. and that you are beautifully made and you are created. Then when it comes to now, you're encountering males that may want to see you in a different manner mm-hmm. and then some that you was accustomed to. When was the point that you learned that, hey, I'm gonna set values? I had expectations of what I want and what I expect from you as a man, that you're gonna treat me.
I think it was that Zoom meeting I had with myself.
Come on now.
And I said, this is what I can accept. This is what I won't accept. Because when I see me as beautiful, when I see me as strong, when I see me, and not in a narcissistic way, but when I see me as value, anything precious is going to be treated a certain way. So because I'm precious, because I'm valuable, I want to be treated just like someone would treat something else that was of worth. I started seeing my worth. And not by what I did or by a title, but on the inside. When I started cleaning out that heart, and we've got to deal with the matters of the heart. When we start taking out unforgiveness and resentment and hurt and pain and start allowing that stony heart to be a heart of flesh, we start seeing things different. We start acting, responding different.
Come on now. I want to touch on something too that we mentioned a little earlier, just a little bit. That's something that's not being spoken as much, but very prevalent. Narcissism.
Yes, yes. I am very much aware from the mental health field and as my personal experience. And I just want to share, sometimes we overuse a thing. So we think when someone's just acting a certain way or they're just selfish that they're narcissists. Given a really kind of maybe like a simple breakdown, usually an individual who is operating in narcissism, first of all, is spiritual. Secondly, if we go with the natural, it's an individual who lacked something in developmental years that is still searching for it. And because they're still searching for it, they get into a manner where they start actually become prideful. And that pride helps, it helps distort their focus on reality. And one of the things that they lack is compassion. And those who lack compassion and empathy operate in pride. Thus, they don't see anything but themselves.
And let me ask you something. Since you're one that has, been in it and you know about it, can that person change? Is there hope or help for that, in the male or female? Is there help for them?
It's definitely help, because honestly, through Christ, all things are possible. But without Him and without doing some work in self, it's a challenge, because you're talking about an individual who's actually missing that they're operating in a certain way. But
So
I know
not aware.
They're not aware. They're not aware.
Well, I mean, that's another topic that we really can
I
deal
would
with.
love to. Yes.
But definitely we'll have you come back on to deal with that. But
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit more about this other project that you are working on as well.
I'm excited about it. I got my hands or my feet wet in film and television when I wrote the film, A Better Baltimore. Yeah. And that has been winning Film Fest from here to Canada. Like, I'm in Montreal, Canada, with just what I wrote. And again, it was about seeing Baltimore City officers or all law enforcement or enforcers as individuals. Understand the humanistic side of an individual in law enforcement. They're somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's uncle, mother. And when we see them as the core individual, it may help us to understand a little bit more than just looking at the badge and the gun. And once I did that and start winning awards and stuff, and I've been writing since I was a child. But now, like you said, when I started seeing that worth, it was like, oh, I got to write more, because many people need to hear and I want to employ people, and I want people to use their talents and skills.
So
right?
We're going to speak that into existence.
Yes,
now.
we are.
So you're talking about having your own business in sense of being able to incorporate or employ those that want to write, those that want to play. So having your own production company, which I know you a little bit, I'm just talking about taking it to a different level.
Well, yeah, and I'm going to go back to the show, but you just brought something else up. My son was a performing artist, and he was a producer, and he was a rapper, and his name was Drama. So what I'm looking to build as a nonprofit in Baltimore is Drama Dream Foundation.
Come on now.
Yes.
Like that.
And with that foundation and with that nonprofit, it's looking to assist individuals between the ages of 16 and 35 actually hone in on entrepreneurship in the arts, literary arts, film, and television. And I understand that especially in Baltimore, the 3 barriers to a person operating in their God-given purpose and gift and talent is mental health, substance abuse, and grief. So it will definitely have the component for therapeutic services so that those barriers can be met, so that they can soar in what they do. We've got a lot of artists here. We've got a lot of writers. We've got a lot of stories, and we've got a lot of producers and things. And I want to bring everything back to Baltimore. We were an area at first where we had Billie Holiday and UB Blake, and we did entertainment here, and
Yes,
we've
we
got to
did.
bring it back. I don't want people to keep taking and robbing Baltimore of our greats. Let's keep it here.
Well, I'm excited. Man, I just didn't know. I met you last year at the Newsom Awards, and we had been kind of trying to connect,
Yes.
and I was in the ATLs trying to connect, but God worked it out. He said that all things work together for good for
Absolutely.
them that love Him and are called according to His purpose.
Absolutely.
So I just believe that where we're going, it takes you, it takes me, it takes all of us to come together to make a difference, not just in our lives, in our children's lives.
Absolutely. Generations to
Yeah,
come.
to come. So, in closing, what would you say to my guests that are watching? First of all, how can they get in contact with you? First of all, and about your book and
About the show.
about the show, so you can give them that information, and if they want to go to for us how they want to purchase the book as well.
Okay. Well, you can definitely find me. I have my website at www.rebirthofrenee, and that's RENEE.com. I'm on all social media platforms. That's Renee Ambush at Facebook. I am Out the Box 70 on IG, because that's who I am. I'm Out the Box, and the is spelled THA, because that A is for the Anointed Holy One. So we've got the THA, and those are the places that you can find me. You can also book appointments for a free session for my impartation strategy. So therapeutic services, you can get a chance to actually book some time with me so that we can do an assessment, and I can help you through your journey from that way as well.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do something. I know you're. My daughter. I tell you, she's an anointed woman. She loves to sing, and I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot a little bit. I know you can sing, so I mean anything. Can you just give the world a little bit something that a cappella?
Okay. If I can help somebody as I pass this way, then my living shall not be in vain.
You better stop. Woo! You better stop. Lord have mercy.
Thank you.
Many talents, many gifts. God gives all of us gifts. It just
Yes.
depends on how you use them. And oh man, when I think about your story, when you not how you start, but how you finish, and the legacy that you're leaving for your children, and the thing that you said that you lost your son, which allowed you to start living.
Yes.
Sometimes we're going through life, and life is living us instead of us living life for Him.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you are a woman of God and on fire for Him, the sky's the limit.
Wow.
So I'm just thrilled. This was a great interview. Glad you came, and oh wow. And we got some work. We're gonna be doing some work together. I mean, we met there in Atlanta. Newsom last year. So I'm just glad to have you on. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm very appreciative.
And once again, thank you for watching the David Robinson Show. Real talk, real people, real conversations. Until next time, peace out and God bless.
Robinson Show.
On the Coyoteman Show Network.